I'd like to thank the grace of heaven, the virtues of the masters, and the compassion and mercy of the grand predecessors, senior transmitters, lecturers, temple masters, and everyone for giving me this opportunity today to learn to speak about chapter 81 of the Tao Te Ching, the final chapter of the entire classic. Okay, it's an important chapter. It's the title, the chapter title is called Not Accumulate, Not Accumulate. All right, okay, and it has a meaning, it has a interesting meaning behind it. Okay, anyway, so it's divided. It's only this chapter is shorter than the previous chapter, obviously by quite a bit. It's less than average length. It's divided into 3 sections. Okay, the first section is let's see, where's my outline here? The first section, it's made up of 6 phrases. There are 3 pairs of anagrams. Okay, these are called anagrams. All right, anagrams. Okay, you just switch one word between the first and the last. Okay, that's anagram. All right, there are 3 pairs, second pair and third pair, and they're and basically the main theme is of the section 1 that he's laying out is talking about non-debating. Okay, which is a type of contention, right? To debate is a type of contention. It's not arguing. All right, so which we will get into a little bit detail later. All right, so basically it's the whole section is talking about insincere, you can say, yeah, untruthful or insincere or appealing or nice sounding words and superficial or shallow knowledge, okay, using those 2 aspects in terms of in debating. All right, okay, all right, and then the second section is talking about how sages would emulate nature, would try to follow nature, which is the Tao, which is the representation or manifestation of the Tao. All right, how sages do not accumulate things. Right here, here's the word. Here's the title. Accumulate. Do not accumulate. Okay, do not accumulate. All right, things. All right, and he's talking about the different levels of what accumulate, of what not to accumulate. Okay, so basically accumulate material things, tangible things, intangible things, and then there's the meta level. Okay, all right, and then that's the second section. And then the third section, the last section, is the conclusion, which deals with the two aspects that the entire Tao Te Ching is all about. Okay, sorry here. All right, okay, 2 things. Okay, what the entire Tao Te Ching is all about. Okay, oops. All right, okay. It's talking about nature or the Tao of Heaven. Okay, the Tao of Heaven. All right, how what is this innate nature? It's represented by nature, we can say, okay, and how the humans should emulate it, and then also the Tao of sages. Okay, how sages want to emulate the Tao of Heaven above. Okay, right here. All right, okay, or nature. All right, and seek to elevate elevate the human sentience, okay, or intelligence to a higher level of wisdom. All right, okay, so basically that's the last section. Okay, and it's kind of like, I don't want to say this is the macro and this is the micro. Okay, this is the micro. Okay, one's macro, one's micro. Okay, and that's the all-encompassing Tao. All right, okay, so anyway, but this is what the outline of the last chapter is, and as we go through the detail, it seeks to link the previous chapter, chapter 80, which we talked about in great length, right? Which is basically, it's called Not Migrate or Not Move Around, and it's mainly about what the ideal land, ideal place, right? Ideal land, and how everything is peaceful, tranquil. It links that. Okay, it tries to link that with chapter 1. All right, with the entire with the whole thing of the Tao. All right. Okay. So that's chapter 81's overview. Let's go to the outline detail. Okay. Here it is. Oops. Sorry. I got to go to the top. Okay. So not accumulate. So the first pair of the anagram is true words are not beautiful and beautiful words are not true. Okay. So just FYI. Oh, did I look it up here? Okay. Just FYI. The sorry, right here. Okay, this word. All right. Okay. If we recall, I mean, its surface meaning is that, okay. Its surface meaning is that it means truthful. It means something that's real, truthful. Okay, that's believable, credible. Okay, it could be a adjective, it could be a noun, it could mean faith, trust, integrity. All right. Okay, it also means male. Okay, letter male. All right. Okay, and also could be a verb too. Now, this word was used quite often. Well, yeah, it's fairly often, 15 times in the entire classic. All right. So and it only has one real meaning. It's an adjective because it modifies the second word, which literally means words. Okay, and that does nothing. In this case, it's a noun. It's not a verb. All right. Okay. Now, here, this last word of the first phrase here. Okay. All right. It literally means beautiful, pleasing, pretty. Okay. All right. Now, in this case, it has to be an adjective because okay. All right. Okay. All right. So in this case, right, it's an adjective, right? It modifies the second word, words, right? Okay. So now here, okay, now this word appears about, I think, 8 times throughout the classic, twice in this chapter, in the last chapter. Okay, obviously. And now here, beautiful sounds, seems very, how can I say, very positive, right? It's a positive trait, right? Yeah, of who doesn't like to be, to hear, to see beautiful things or hear beautiful things, as beautiful words, etc. Right? Okay. Now, in this case here, though, it has a negative context of being untrue or untrustworthy. All right. Now, this context is the opposite of its use in chapter 62. Okay, which was used. Okay, which was used only once to describe what? Describe uplifting, inspirational, type of admirable words. All right. So just understand here. All right. This is the opposite meaning. Okay. So you're going to come across this phrase twice. Okay. All right. I think twice. Yeah. It's anyway. So all right. So just so that you understand. All right. So don't. All right. So it's gonna. All right. So just this phrase, just understand. Okay. It's not. All right. So it's not positive in this case. It's a negative. It has a negative context. All right. Okay. Because Lao Tzu wants to show the contrast. Okay, between true words and beautiful words. Okay. So that's what the purpose of this anagram is. All right. Okay. So basic meaning of the first phrase is that words that are trusted, okay, or believable or credible or genuine, are not embellished. They're plain, right? Okay, all right. Or another way of saying is that truthful words are not crooked or dishonest. Okay, all right. Now, but the truthful words or believable words, credible words, right there. Okay, it means more than true words or words that you believe in, credible words or whatever. Okay, it could also mean or implies blunt truths, ugly truths, words do not gloss over anything or try to spare someone's feelings. Okay, it could mean that. Okay, it could mean that too. All right, so So, okay, so it encompasses all that, all right? So, so when he said true words are not beautiful here, it just means that also blunt or ugly truths, or simple truths, simple, it could be simple, okay, because they're not beautiful, right? They're not embellished, okay, by, beautiful words or, euphemisms, okay, etc. Okay. But at times, perhaps they're exactly what we need to hear. Okay. So sometimes, blunt truths, simple truths, or ugly truths are words that sometimes we need to hear, okay, or we need to pay attention to. All right. Okay. So that's what the first phrase means, okay, of this anagram. The second phrase is that, second phrase, beautiful words are not true. Now, beautiful words do not refer to beautiful words like poetry. People say, oh, how about poet? Like the great Tang poets of China, of ancient China, like what's his name? I forgot his name. Not Du Fu, but the other one, Li Bai, right? Li Bai, Du Fu. They're like contemporaries. They overlap, but anyway, okay. They have wonderful poetry, all right. But okay, so Lao Tzu was not referring to poetry or expressive growth. Like beautiful lines, beautiful words of in poetry or in literature. Okay, what he was referring to as beautiful words are those smooth, flattering, seductive, deluding words that you want to hear. Okay, all of those. You could say dishonest, right? Dishonest. Okay, illusory words. Okay, words that have a deceptive intention behind it, or some kind of agenda behind it. All right. Okay. So that's what beautiful words here mean. So it's negative context. Okay. So another way of saying is that beautiful words are words that misrepresent or distort reality, right? Words that are designed or intended to give you the wrong impression. Okay. So that's what beautiful words mean here. Okay. All right. All right. So oftentimes we've seen this many times. Beautiful words, these types of words are often used to, devastating effect by, scammers, people who flatter you, want to, cheat you out of your money or property or whatever. Salespeople, right? Snake oil salesmen, used car dealers, whatever, new car dealers, whatever. Okay. Lawyers, politicians, etc. Okay. So it is better not to believe these nice sounding words. Okay. All right. I mean, that's how they get you, because they're nice sounding, they're beautiful, they're etc. All right. Okay. So then we can extend what beautiful words also can mean to. All right. It's the negative kinds of communication that can be distracting, seductive, tempting, or illusory. Okay. So it's all of that. Okay. So it's like, one of the 4 improper speeches, right, of Buddhism, right? Flattery, idle talk. That's one of them. All right. That's one of the 4. Right. Okay. All right. So that's what the beautiful words mean. Okay. So what Lao Tzu is saying when he's saying that, true words are not beautiful, beautiful words are not true. He's saying that, especially for Tao cultivators, okay, when we have to choose, which words we like to hear, some people say, oh, I like to hear beautiful words, but he's basically then, cautioning us, right? Cautioning us that, be careful about, always wanting to hear beautiful words, because, okay, as a Tao cultivator, you would rather prefer the ugly truth over the beautiful, illusory words, even if it's unflattering or unpleasant. Why is this so? Even if the ugly words are unflattering or unpleasant, why? Well, because if we desire to hear beautiful words, we lose the ability for clarity of judgment. Then our mind's thoughts become corrupted. That's the problem. Okay, because it seduces our thoughts. Okay, then our minds, seduce our minds. So therefore our thoughts become corrupted. All right. So trustworthy words, that's what the first 2 characters of the first phrase mean, implies ugly truth. Whereas beautiful words, the first 2 characters, second phrase, implies illusion or beautiful illusion. Okay, something that's seductive, that sounds very nice, that you like to hear, but it's an illusion. It's not real. Okay, all right. So the key point is the truthful words oops, sorry. Okay. Truthful words, okay, can also be beautiful words. Okay, ideally, truthful words can also be that's the ideal. Okay, we can, right? Okay, but you have to be honest. That's okay, but you have to be sincere. All right. Okay, so truthful words that are clear and simple, direct and to the point, plain and practical have a beauty of their own. All right. So if you want to strive for the ideal and say, hey, I want to say beautiful words, but they have to be truthful. Okay. So they have to be clear and simple, clear, direct, to the point, plain, and practical. Okay. So that's the important thing. All right. So that's okay. Whereas if we try to dress it up, embellish it, right, then that's no longer truthful, right? Or no longer credible, or sincere, etc. Right? Okay. Now, so how we recognize and perceive unpleasant truths versus beautiful untruths. Yeah. Okay. That's the unpleasant truths. That could be the ugly words, right? Or not beautiful words. Okay. Versus beautiful untruths. That's the beautiful words. Depend on our level of cultivation, specifically our level of relinquishment, right? How much of our ego are willing to let go. All right. The reality is that there are times when the truth may be unflattering, unpleasant, or bruise our egos. So so we have to, if we can let go of our egos, then it's easier for us to perceive what's the unpleasant truth versus the beautiful untruth. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's go to the second line, second two phrases. Those who are good do not debate. Those who debate are not good. Okay. So that's another anagram. All right. Okay, so you're familiar with this character. This character is used quite a few times. I forgot. It's quite a few. All right, it's quite a few times. Very. At least like a dozen times, if I'm correct. Okay, it's at least 52 times in this entire chapter. In this classic. Okay, 52 times. All right. Okay, and okay. This word would be interesting. Okay, right here, this word. Okay, this word. Okay, now if you look it up in a dictionary, you can look it up in a dictionary. Okay, one of the definitions it'll give means to argue. It also has to debate, to dispute, or to discuss. Okay, that's a verb, or as it can mean a discourse. Now, in the ancient use, it means eloquence of expression. Yeah, it means you're very, you have great oratory skills, so great speaking skills. Okay, you're a good speaker. Okay, very eloquent. Eloquent speaker. Okay, now it's used once. Okay, in this context. Yeah, once in this context. By the way, okay, I think this word only appears three times. Sorry, 3 times. Okay, 3 times. So it appeared twice already in chapter 81. This chapter, it appeared once in another chapter. Okay. All right. So this context is the positive, the context that was used for this word. Okay, in a previous chapter, I think it was chapter 62, 45, chapter 45. Okay. It has a positive context as eloquence of expression. That's what the ancient usage was. Okay, it was used once in chapter 45 to convey this. Now, the only time to appear again is in this chapter 81, and it's used in the negative context. Okay, all right. So it means to debate. Okay, and I'll get to why it doesn't mean to argue. Okay, and it's very, very, very important. All right. Okay, very, very, very subtle. Okay, so let's get to the basic meaning of this first phrase. It means that those who are skillful in the art of living do not engage in debates. Okay, so that's what this means. This character, the first two characters. Santa. Literally, it means good person. I mean, literally, that's what it means. Good person. Okay, good person. All right. Good person. Benevolent person. Virtuous person. Okay. But in this case, it's broader than that. Okay. It just means someone who is skillful in living, in living life. Okay. Or being good at life. Okay. So So what it means is that those people who are skillful in the art, you can say good person, virtuous person. That's a subset. That's a subset of those who are skillful in the art of living, right? Life. Okay. So that's very more specific, more narrow. But let's take the broad one, the broadest possible one. Possibility is that those who are skillful in art of living do not engage in debates. Okay. Now, so if you look at a Chinese character, you could use Google Dictionary. It's okay. It's not too bad in some areas. But anyway, okay. One of the combinations of words that they would have is here, 辩论. Okay, that means to debate. Literally, 辩论 is debate, nothing else. Okay, so that's what Lao Tzu meant to use this. The context of this word 辩 means to debate, and it's not arguments or disputes. Now, if you look up Google Dictionary, it'll also say, it could be 争论. Okay, 争论 means to dispute or argument. Okay, so that's why it's not. Okay, the context here is not. And why is that? Because think about it. These anagrams in section 1, these three pairs, these 6 phrases. Okay, they are connected. They flow. Okay, Lao Tzu has an intention here. Okay, here. So the last word does not mean to argue. Okay, so this word does not mean to argue. Okay, this word, okay, does not mean to argue like in the dictionary. Okay, because think about it. Because the 2 previous phrases, the first line, right, that we just talked about, which is true words are not beautiful, beautiful words are not true. Okay. Because the previous 2 phrases was about truthful words and beautiful words. So now this phrase here is about those smooth, flattering, or deceptive, talkers, right? Speakers or talkers who are very adept or skilled in using appealing, seductive, or tempting, or illusory words to win at debates, not arguments. Think about it. When you are debating versus arguing, right? So our question is, which definition is it? Is it arguing or is it debating? Let me ask you, if you are arguing, disputing, being very hot-headed, right? Hot-tempered, right? Getting into arguments. Will you be using beautiful words to argue? Of course not. You're not. You're going to be using heated, ugly, and very unkind or very hurtful words, right? When you're arguing, right? Whereas when you're debating, you won't be using that. Because if you're debating and you're using those heated, ugly, unkind, hurtful words, the other side or the people, the audience, you'll be turned off, right? They'll say, hey, this guy is, is losing his temper, blah, 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 right? How can he prove his point? How can he, he or she, want me to be on their side if they are, using so hurtful words, so much unkind words, curse words, whatever, right? So think about it, right? So it makes sense. So therefore, the definition of this word has to mean debate, because it's debaters who are using flattering words, okay, or seductive words, right? Okay, so the better interpretation of this phrase is not to debate instead of not to argue. Why is that? Because in an argument or debate, heated, ugly, unkind, hurtful words will be used instead of beautiful words or flattering words or seductive words or deceptive words. Make sense? All right. Okay. So now let's look at the second phrase of the second line is those who engage in debates now, okay, no longer arguments, debates, have insufficient or lack goodness of honesty. Okay, so that's what it means. Okay, right? That's the anagram. All right. Okay, so why is that so? Why is that so? Okay, because debaters often resort to using smooth, flattering, illusory, deluding, deceptive words. That's the beautiful words in order to win debates. So that's why you're not good, right? Because you're using seductive, untruthful words, okay, or not credible words, right, to try to win your debate, okay, to try to win debate. So that's not a person of sincerity, right? That's not how a good person would be, right? A good person would rather talk about what? Use what? Right here, right? Plain, practical, direct, simple, unembellished, unadorned words, right? Okay, that has a, okay, all right, so that's why, all right? So if we wish to engage in debates with others, then that means that we don't have enough goodness and honesty. Okay, we lack, you can say we lack, right? We lack goodness and honesty because you are going to use beautiful words, deceptive, seductive, alluring words, all right? Okay, illusory words, all right? Okay, so generally now this could be a cultural thing. Okay, this could be a cultural thing because you can say that generally in the West, especially in education, all right, if you are smart, if you know whatever is right or whatever, usually you're encouraged to speak your mind, right? To right. So debating has a very long tradition in Western culture, especially in education. As a matter of fact, one of the ancient Greeks, I forgot the technical term. It's their curriculum. It's called there's a Greek word for it. I forgot what it means. It's Greek curriculum. It's the Greek curriculum for education, and debating is one of the curriculums. Okay, they have philosophy, I think, music, art, and rhetoric. It's called rhetoric. Okay, it's not called debating. It's called rhetoric. Okay, rhetoric means now. To be fair, rhetoric is broad. Okay, it means teaches you how to speak properly. Also, okay, so that's what it means. All right, so it doesn't mean just to debate, but debating is one of them. Okay, all right, okay, so a lot of the Western culture tend to think of debate as a good thing, right? This is partly due to the history tradition of debate, of using debate as a means to an end, not realizing that there are negative consequences or effects of debates. Why? Debates, one of those consequences, what is the consequence? Debates usually leave behind some form of lingering resentment, which can lead to more serious issues, such as resentment, which can turn to envy, jealousy, hatred, vengeance, revenge, etc., etc. All right. So remember chapter 79? We talked about that, very first phrase, or third phrase, first to third. Okay. So the first section, basically, right? After settling a great dispute, there must be remaining resentment. All right. So we have to understand. All right. Okay. So what's 2 o'clock? Okay. All right. So those who are good in the art of living do not engage in debates because they do not use beautiful words to misrepresent reality or give a wrong impression. Those who debate will often use smooth, illusory, or flattering words or deceptive words. So they're not good or not skillful in the art of living. Right. So the key is those who debate cannot practice goodness because they will often use flattering, seductive, deluding, or deceptive words that are designed or intended to give you the wrong impression. While those who are skillful in the art of living, or those who are good, will not debate because they will not distort reality and will use truthful words instead of beautiful, which is flattering, nice sounding, delusory words. Okay. All right. So let's go to the third anagram, the third line, the fifth and sixth phrases of section 1. Those who know are not broad of knowledge. Those who are broad of knowledge do not know. All right. Okay. So let's see. Okay. So this word is used quite often. Okay. The first word, to know. Okay. I think it's used like 60 times. Okay. So it can mean knowledge, understanding, a lot of things. Okay. But it's all that. Okay. So it could be noun and a verb. Okay. Now, whereas this word, the last word of the first phrase, literally it means abundant. It means broad, extensive, wide. Also means it's a more narrow context. Okay. It means you're well learned, well informed. Okay. Erudite means you are very knowledgeable. You can say that. Okay. So in modern use, this often has a positive context. So now, like for example, in modern day usage, if you are a PhD, a doctorate, you have a doctorate, it proves that means you have some fairly extensive knowledge, right, on a particular field. It's called 博士. Okay, literally. Okay, 士 means scholar, so it literally means erudite or well-informed scholar. That's what PhD means. Okay. All right. Okay. 博士. All right. Now, so this is positive. So that has a positive meaning. However, in the ancient usage, it doesn't have a positive. It's negative. It's a negative context, which means you have broad, that's true, you have very broad knowledge, but it's shallow or surface knowledge. So it's having broad, superficial knowledge and lacking deep or detailed understanding. That's what it means. Okay, so that's what Lao Tzu is saying. Okay, so he says those. So basic meaning is, first phrase is, those who know are not broad of knowledge, means that those who know something deeply, have specialized knowledge or expertise, are not well versed in different kinds of knowledge. So to really know something, quote unquote, is to get to the essence of a subject, while the shallow, superficial knowledge tends to be illusory or misleading. Okay, so that's what Lao Tzu is saying. Okay, so another way of saying is that those who really have a deep understanding of a particular subject or field will not convey or express the appearance of that expertise for all other objects. So they're not well learned. There are experts in particular subjects, right? Who will not pretend that, oh, they know everything else. They know. Okay, so that's another way understanding of that phrase. Okay, so those who really have a detailed understanding, like of a particular subject or anything, say music, art, or whatever, are not necessarily erudite or well learned or very knowledgeable in all kinds of knowledge, right? They're not, right? I mean, there's no hyper genius or omni genius. I mean, the only way to be an omni genius would be like you can say be like a Buddha, or be like a Buddha, okay, or God, okay, all right. So they do not pretend that they have the depth of knowledge of other subjects. Okay, so that's what, right? Okay, so now there's a general meaning behind this first phrase. Is that one who knows means being a master of a particular subject, that is knowing and understanding the essence of a subject. You know the thing, one particular thing inside out to its core. Okay, now there's a specific meaning of this is at a more specific level or deeper level, is that one who knows is a metaphor for having the Tao wisdom. That's another way of saying. Okay, so this word could also mean wisdom, okay, even though it's knowledge. Okay, if in the dictionary, if you look at the dictionary, okay, it's usually knowledge. Okay, all right, okay, but at the deeper meaning, okay, at a specific, more deeper meaning, it's metaphor for having the Tao wisdom. Okay, that is so that's the deeper meaning. Now then, there's a deeper meaning of broad knowledge or well learned. Okay, it's also a metaphor for intellectual or book knowledge, right? Okay, so that's instead of wisdom. Okay, so instead of wisdom, so this knowledge is the opposite of our innate wisdom. Okay, the Mahaprajna. Okay, so that's the little bit more deeper level meaning of what broad knowledge means. It just means you have extensive book knowledge, but it's not. It's really dead knowledge because it's subject to change. Okay, it's not flexible. Okay, it's not. Okay, it's not like wisdom. Okay, wisdom is more practical, you can say. All right. Now then, there's a meta level, the higher level, which is one who knows, quote unquote, that's being aligned or conforming to the Tao essence, does not have intellectual knowledge. Okay, so that I'll talk about this at the end of this section, at the end of this. Okay, at the key section. Okay, all right. Okay, so that's what it means. Okay, so that means that at the deeper level, at the highest level, you can say meta level, that means one who knows the Tao does not have the intellectual knowledge of the Tao. So that's very important. All right, so it's not so when you say I know the Tao, it does not mean you can quote verses or know phrases, from which sage or whatever, from which sutra or classic. No, that's book knowledge. Okay, that's different. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Now the second phrase, which is wow, the second phrase is those who are broad of knowledge do not know. Okay, so that means that's the other anagram, is that those who appear to know everything, that's broad of knowledge, but do not really know much about anything. Okay, but it's superficial, it's shallow. They may know a lot, but it's a lot of everything, but it's only a little bit of everything. Okay, so it's like the saying, jack of all trades and master of none, right? Similar idea. Okay, similar. Now, those who are, and the reason is because those who are well versed in different kinds of knowledge may not really know everything that accurately or precisely or that deeply. Okay, so that's another thing about people who have broad knowledge. Okay, those who are extensively well learned in all subjects may not really be able to convey a deep understanding of a particular subject, right? So those who are erudite in all kinds of knowledge may not really have a deep understanding of a particular subject. So then you take it to the meta level, okay, to the level of the Tao. Basically, it's saying, okay, that those who have intellectual or book knowledge of the Tao, that's very, very extensive. You can say pretty deep, knowledge of all the different, scholarly writings or, or sayings or teachings or whatever. Okay, but they may not really know or understand the Tao essence. So they may know it on its superficial level, okay, at the word level, or stuff like that, but they do not know its essence. Okay, all right. So the implication is here. Oh, there's a lot here. Okay, yeah. Okay, it's that those who know something deeply have detailed, precise, and refined understanding of a particular subject. So they're not well versed in all different kinds of knowledge. So to present oneself as knowledgeable in many subjects is often driven by here. Okay, let's narrow it down a little bit. Okay, a little bit here. Okay, all right. Okay, so those who are not well versed in all kinds of knowledge, to present, so they're not, okay, so to present oneself as knowledgeable in many subjects is often driven by one's ego, because one wants to look good before other people. So they have the need to project that illusion or facade of being very learned or very knowledgeable or well learned. Such people wishing to impress the debate opponent and audience will present themselves as broadly knowledgeable and therefore correct, right? So this links back to the two previous phrases, well, at least to the two previous phrases, which is about good people do not wish to debate, do not debate. Okay, same thing. So those people who like to debate want to appear that they learn, they know a lot very well, right? So that's the under. Okay, so what this phrase is pointing out is that they do not, but that they do not, what these people who appear very well learned or very knowledgeable do not really know what they're talking about, because they only appear that way. It's all about appearance versus reality. Okay, so at the meta level, those who really know the Tao are not necessarily, erudite. You don't have to have PhDs, okay, in the Tao to really know the Tao, okay, or well learned with extensive knowledge of everything, right? That the highest level of knowing the Tao is not to claim, display, or show you think you know it. Okay, that's on the previous chapter. Okay, which I'll get to right here. Okay, so here it is. Okay, so those who know everything do not have a proficient or refined understanding and lack very detailed knowledge. So those who appear knowledgeable in many subjects are usually ego-driven by their desire to look good. So these last two phrases connect back to the first four phrases about good at debates and using beautiful words. Okay, so which is what? Which is where those who use beautiful but misleading words are those who like to engage in debates where they can impress others with their facade or superficial, show of being erudite and well learned by showing off their broad knowledge of many things. Okay, so that's the connection between these three anagrams or these six phrases. So at the meta level, which we want to talk about, sorry. Okay, at the meta level, okay, which we want to talk about is that those who are erudite, well learned, or have intellectual knowledge of the Tao do not really know the Tao, know its essence, in other words, where this knowing is beyond conscious or intellectual knowledge, right? Remember chapter 71, without fault. Okay, that's what it is. All right, okay. Let's talk about summary. Ooh, I'm almost done here. Okay, summary part one. Let's look at part one summary. Okay, so there are three key points: truthful and beautiful words. Okay, so we should be mindful of recognizing unpleasant truths versus beautiful untruths. We should be mindful of soothing but false words that show up in daily communication. So true words, what are true words? True words are home truths, blunt truths, words you may want to avoid but really need to hear. Okay, so the Tao cultivator appreciates a friend who really cares enough to provide the truth, the the unfiltered truth, the unembellished honesty or true words. Okay, whereas beautiful words are pleasing, that's true, but they're misleading words. They're half truths or lies that sound good or soothing on the surface. So as Tao cultivator, we have to learn to recognize that those smooth talkers, slick talkers, they use these words to manipulate people. Okay, all right, so that's the truth and beautiful words. That's the first anagram. Refer to the second one is skillful in the art of living and the debaters. So some reasons why sages advise against debates. Okay, so why? Because number one, debates are the playground for those, or the stage for those who are skillful in using beautiful words that are misleading and intentionally deceptive. Debates can lead to contention, right? From regular words becomes a shouting match. It gets heated, then becomes mutual accusations, etc., right? Okay, or even violence, right? Debates can lead to contention. So this is completely contrary to the Tao. And even when debates do not lead to contention, though, let's assume debates don't lead to contention. Even when the participants are well-intentioned, debates are still deceptive and ego-driven. All right, so anything that strokes the ego is bad for our spiritual cultivation. Okay, debates, however, usually will leave some kind or some form of lingering resentment, right? Usually, one side will lose or whatever, or feel that they lost out, right? So that lingering resentment can lead to more serious issues. It can turn to envy, jealousy, hatred, vengeance, etc., right? That's the problem, okay? And then we should beware of smooth talkers, especially people who like to debate and who appear broadly knowledgeable. So these people are likely to be treacherous, backstabbers, and ignorant underneath the facade. All right, so we have to be careful. All right, then those who know and broad of knowledge. Okay, that's the difference. All right, okay, so real knowledge and understanding means to put into practice the principles of the Tao in everyday living. So it's not just book knowledge, not just deep intellectual knowledge, okay, of the Tao. That is to be skillful in the art of living life, being good at life and not debating. All right. The true knowledge of the Tao comes from its source. That is the formless and intangible Buddha nature, not from the books, not from intellectual or book knowledge, not from books, okay, not from words. That's the true knowledge. The true knowledge of Tao comes from our Buddha nature, not from some words, written on a book or someplace or stuff like that. All right. Okay. So knowing, that is to understand the Tao, is not just intellectual knowledge of Tao. All right. Okay. So I know we're behind schedule a little bit. So let's go back. Okay. Let's go back. Okay. Let's go to section 2 now. All right. So I'm going to try to finish this as quickly as possible. Okay. So section 2 has 3 phrases. So sages do not accumulate. The more they do for others, the more they possess. The more they give to others, the more they gain. All right. Okay. So let's talk about the basic meaning. At the tangible level, all right, the tangible level, sages do not accumulate any material things or worldly good. Okay. So that's what sages do not do, right? They don't accumulate things, right? They don't need to. There's no need for them to accumulate. All right. Accumulate material things, okay, because that's not their objective, right? That's not their goal in life. All right. Okay. So another saying is that sages do not hoard. Another way to expand it, what means to accumulate also, okay? So it's beyond physical, okay? It could be beyond physical. So sages do not hoard or dwell on the past, and they're not attached to any material objects. Now, this idea of accumulation can apply to non-material aspects of life, such as emotional baggage. But here, right now, this first, at least this at the surface level, the focus on material things, that's property, wealth, okay? Because that's the basic, right? That's the basic, right? Tangible things, right? Now, but they're also the intangible side, okay? So the intangible, a little bit higher level, is that not only does our Buddha nature, that's sage now, okay? So that's the more intangible level, okay? Not cling to any material or non-material objects. It does not accumulate any dualistic traits of human nature. So that's the higher level. So it is always in the state of infinite relinquishment, right? That's part of the 4 immeasurable minds, right? The Buddha nature has complete relinquishment of the for example, of the 4 marks of existence, right? The Buddha nature doesn't have that, right? That's why, right? Okay. So that's a more intangible level, okay? All right. Now, then there's a meta level, okay? That's even higher. As you can say, the ultimate, the macro level, the grand level, the all-encompassing. Now, to accumulate, now this time, right? Okay, so there's the surface level, which is, accumulate material things, right? Material things. Then there's the more intangible level, right? Like accumulate our human traits, right? Or, ego, desires, all that stuff, all right? Then there's the meta level. The meta level is the grand level, the highest macro level. It's a metaphor to the accumulation of karmic debts or karmic seeds of rewards or retribution. Okay, so that's the highest. We don't do that. Sages do not accumulate any karmic debts. Okay, and more specifically, it's not to say just a person, but more our Buddha nature. Our Buddha nature always conforms to the Tao, so it will not accumulate any karma. That's why everything has to come from our Buddha nature. Okay, if we let our Buddha nature become a master of our lives, then we won't accumulate karma. Whereas if we don't allow Buddha nature to be our master, we allow our human mind or the human nature to control our lives, then we have good and bad, right? And then that's where we accumulate karma. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So the second, let's look at the second phrase, which is the more they do for others, the more they possess. Okay. So what's the basic meaning? Is that at the tangible level, when sages, the people, the sages, the actual people or the persons provide assistance to others in accordance with the Tao, they automatically create good karma, even though they have no intention. I mean, it's not based on intent. They just automatically help others out, but they automatically will create good karma. That is to plant the seeds of good karma. All right, so that's okay. Now, another meaning is that, or another way of understanding this phrase is to help in accordance with the Tao means doing so within your abilities, moderation, and without attachments, conditions, contrivance. Okay, that's okay. Okay, so without intent, right? That's the highest, that's the Wu Wei, right? The highest level. All right. Well, we'll talk about, we'll summarize this up in summary too. Okay. Then there's the intangible part, okay, which is what? The more we assist or help others, the more joyous fulfillment we'll feel. Okay, we'll feel some kind of this, there's a certain kind of intangible satisfaction because you're not getting anything back, right? You're not expecting payback, material or tangible rewards, but nevertheless, you get this intangible reward or the sense of satisfaction or fulfillment. So it's like being good neighbors. That's a natural state of living in harmony and peace in an ideal land, right? Remember last chapter, chapter 80, right? The third and fourth to last phrases talks about neighboring kingdoms see one another, hear the sounds of roosters and dogs from another. Times you're helping each other, you are visiting, socializing, helping each other, seeing each other, right? Okay. All right. Now that's the more intangible side. Okay. Then there's a more macro level, which is that providing assistance non-conditionally, that is Wu Wei, right? Without any attachments. That's the true merit. Virtuous merit. That's unlimited. That's no longer bound by the quality or quantity or whatever of the assistance. Okay, that's no longer bound because it's no longer conditioned. So therefore, if it's non-conditioned, therefore it's merit true. Now, I didn't reference it here, but Diamond Sutra, Buddha spoke to Shibuti, talked about that. Okay, about the or limitless virtue, right? What is meant by limitless virtue? Okay, all right. Basically, it means anything that's not attached to any forms or without conditions is limitless. Okay, all right. Now, let's look at the third phrase, which is the more they give to others, the more they gain. Now, this word, it's pronounced. It's used. Okay, it's pronounced yu, third tone. Okay, it's a third tone yu. It means to give or to grant, even though. If it's pronounced, I think in the second tone, it means it's a conjunction and or with. Okay, so just understand that. All right. Okay, so the basic meaning of the third phrase is that on the tangible level, just like helping others, we must give in accordance with the Tao in order to create good karma. Right? Obviously. Right. Okay. So giving to others, similar to helping others from the previous phrase circles back to you. That has a karmic effect, all right? Okay, it's never one way, okay? It's always a two-way, all right? Okay, so to give in accordance with Tao means doing so within your abilities, okay, using moderation, okay, which we'll talk about a little bit detail in summary part 2, and without attachments, conditions, contrivance, or expectations. Okay, that's the condition, more on the tangible side. Now, on the intangible side is that understanding is that the more we give to others, there's the more sense of fulfillment we feel. Again, okay, that once that sense of satisfaction. Okay, conversely, the more we desire, the poorer we become, because when we have more desires, we will never be satisfied. So we end up feeling more needy. We want more. So therefore, you become poor, right? Because you need more, all right? Okay, so that's why. Okay, so that's why when you give, right? And I didn't reference it here. There's a, you can quote in the New Testament. I think it's in the New Testament. Yeah, it is more blessed to give than to receive, right? Etc. There's a whole bunch. Okay, but it's the same idea. All right, same idea. Now at the meta level, okay, macro level, same as with providing assistance. By giving to others non-conditionally, without any attachments or contrivances, that's also true virtuous merit. So that's unlimited too, right? Same thing. So same as providing assistance, okay, giving. So at the personal level, what we need to do is that, okay, we do not need to pursue the accumulation of material objects because we can find contentment and abundance in helping and giving. Now, this also circles back to chapter 80, previous chapter 80, right? Remember this chapter also connects to chapter 80, right? Okay. Chapter 80 about section 2, right? I didn't reference it here because for the sake of, brevity, I try. It's, sorry, section 3, it's about letting the people return to tying knots and using them, remember? Savor their food, admire their clothes, content in their homes, happy in their customs. Section 3, all right? That's about what? The beauty of living the simple life. Having contentment, remember, right? That contentment prevails in this ideal land. That's chapter 80, right? Because that's what the personal level means, okay? So at the meta level, though, okay, what it means is that our Buddha nature is always in the state of limitless relinquishment. Yeah, it never. Why? Because it naturally helps and give out with any attachment. Okay, and it's what you call it? It's endless. It's limitless. Okay, the Buddha nature is, we can say it's all powerful. In other words, whatever wisdom or wisdom or manifestations that it can give, it'll never run dry. We'll talk about. I think the very next point we'll reference that. But let's look at Appendix A, talking about helping, giving, and helping others. That's the contrary side. That's not in accordance with Tao. Okay, so what we're saying is, we should always give, right? Give and help in accordance with the Tao, right? Okay, but there are also times when giving and helping is not in accordance with Tao. Okay, so here too. Okay, so what's not in accordance with the Tao? What to avoid in terms of giving to others, right? That's what sages always give to others, and also helping others. Okay, so let's look at giving to others. Okay, let's go to two points. Okay, so first, we give nothing. Okay, so that's not in accordance with Tao too. All right, so that means, because we can always give something, even if it's not more than a friendly smile. It doesn't have to be material things that we give. Okay, all right, that's very important, right? To know, right? It's not material things that we have to give. Okay, so that's a gonna say. Okay, it could be a smile, an encouragement, or a silent blessing. Okay, all right. Now that's to give. Okay, now in terms of helping others, if we do nothing, if we do not do anything to help others, because they justify by saying, "Oh, it's called non-action. It's called wu-wei." No, that's one literal translation or interpretation, but that's really misunderstanding of what not of wu-wei means. Okay, all right, okay. So when people do nothing based on their misunderstanding of wu-wei to justify inaction, they fail to understand its true meaning. All right, the true meaning means to be non-conditional, non-attached. Okay, so that's what it means. Okay, so what's not in accordance with Tao in giving and helping others? It's to do nothing. or to give nothing. That's not in accordance with the Tao. All right. So the Tao does not say you should give nothing and give nothing. Okay. So that now, what's the extreme in giving to others? It's giving too much. So in giving the shirt off your back, that's not a virtue in the Tao too. That's, today we say virtue signaling. Okay. So you can't also, you have to be moderate in giving too. All right. Okay. So it's not, avoid the extremes of giving nothing and giving too much or giving everything. Okay. So we have to avoid the extremes. That's because that's not in accordance to the Tao. All right. Now that's giving. Now in terms of helping, all right. So we also should not do too much, because if you go beyond moderation, that means, okay, you end up with wasted effort or a gesture in futility, or even can be perceived as interference, such as meddling. Okay, so we have to be careful, right? So once again, in terms of helping others, right, we should not fall into these two extremes either. Okay, not do nothing and do too much. Okay, so that's also, right, moderation. Okay, so all right, so we just have to be mindful. Okay, so let's go back. I'm already at the hour mark. Okay, all right, let us do the key point here, then we can get to the third section. Okay, the key point is that there's the tangible level, right? When we help and give to others without attachments or conditions, that's the Wu Wei, we end up with a life full of goodwill, abundance, and prosperity. That is, we plant this and reap the seeds of good karma. All right, it could be in this life or in future lives, etc. Okay, even though we don't intend it. Okay, so that's the important thing. We don't intend it. That's we accumulate. It's like, you have an invisible, you have an intangible bank account, of virtue, bank account of virtue. That's accumulating limitless virtue. Okay, so anyway, all right, okay, all right. Now, so a metaphor for this would be a deep well, where everyone can benefit from its water, and yet the well is always replenished full of water. Okay, so that's the thing, right? A well that never dries, okay, that never dries out, that never runs empty. That's our Buddha nature. That's what our Buddha nature is like, okay, all right? It has limitless, you can say, yeah, limitless wisdom, et cetera, all that goodness, all that stuff, okay? And it will always, if you follow your Buddha nature, if you manifest it, if you walk the talk or whatever, right? Walk the walk, walk the talk. Okay. It's always benefiting people, but yet you will never lose that source. That source will never dry out. Okay. Like that deep well. Okay. Right. Okay. So that's the metaphor. Okay. Okay. Now there's the intangible level. Okay. Is that by helping and giving to others without attachments or condition, we gain true virtuous merit that transcends the limits of karma. All right. So it's beyond karma. Okay. So even though, yes, we do help, without conditions, okay, attachments, you will get good karma. But the thing is that if you do it unintentionally, non-intentional, it transcends karma. So it no longer forces us, let's say in future life, to come back and reap that karmic reward. You get it? Okay. Okay. So that's very important, right? That's the higher level, the intangible level. Okay. In other words, when we assist, help, and give to others unconditionally, without attachment, etc., we will transcend karma. Okay. So that's very important. All right. Even and that merit, that virtue of merit can be applied, given, or used in many more ways. That's okay. So or it's not limited, no longer limited. So you can transfer that virtuous merit to your parents, to other people, etc. Okay, without limit, or yeah. Okay, all right. Okay. So at the meta level, our Buddha nature helps and gives unconditionally and without attachments. Right? The Buddha our Buddha nature never negotiates with us and say, hey, okay, you want me to help you? Well, you got to do this and that and that. Okay, no, it doesn't do that, right? It's okay. That's its innate nature because it is congruent at one with the Tao. That's the ultimate limitless source. Okay, like that well that never dry. Okay, so for examples of giving, it's very important. Let's go to part 2. Okay, so what's the Tao of giving? All right, so the Tao of giving. Okay, so one is let's be helpful and giving to others in accordance to the Tao. That is, the more you give to others, the more you do for others, the more that you possess, the more you give to others, the more they gain. All right. So that means you will in turn receive unexpected help and abundance from the Tao. Yeah. Okay. So it's unexpected. It's not because it's non-intended, non-intentional, non-attached. So giving is far more powerful than receiving. So to give is to be in alignment with the ultimate limitless source, right? Okay. Now I didn't reference it here, but previous chapters we talk about the Tao, right? The Tao is the mother, the nourishing mother, the nature, right, of everything, the source of everything. Remember, right? The Tao is the source of everything. It's the nourishing mother, right? Okay. So it gives. So it's the Tao. The Tao is natural like that. So we have to emulate the Tao, right? So if we follow our Buddha nature, that's what the Buddha nature does, because the Buddha nature is congruent, aligned with the Tao. It naturally just gives without, right? Without conditions, right? Without attachments, okay? And also it can be unlimited giving, all right? Okay, so the more give in accordance to the Tao, that is not, the important thing is not about quantity or the value. Oh, it's very expensive or very valuable, or the amount, the dollars amount or whatever, okay, it doesn't matter, okay, or objects or things, okay. The more we bring ourselves into alignment with the universal source, okay, so that's the key, all right. So that will lead to the conclusion anyway, but anyway, all right. So we have to emulate the Tao, okay. Okay, now what's the practice of Tao of giving? What is that? Okay, there's a lot of stuff, okay. So it's like give what you do not need, right? That's your excess instead of what you do not want, right? Remember, we talked about that in previous chapters, right? Okay, all right, all right. So, all right, so that's like the water virtue, all right, or not the water virtue, the heavenly Tao. It's the heavenly Tao, right? The heavenly Tao, chapter 77. I didn't reference it here, but 77. All right, okay. That's in section, I think section 3, the last section, okay, who can have excess and offer it to the world, okay, that only those who have the Tao, all right, okay. Now, and also we give integrity, give that which is yours to give, all right. Don't say, oh, you received, let's say, I don't know, you received I don't know, a gift, something, I don't know, some kind of gift, and you don't, you either have too much of it or you don't want it, then you turn around and give it to that. I mean, that's basically a transference. Okay, yes, technically, legally, it's yours because it's a gift to you, right? And then you give it, okay? But that's not really integrity, okay? Because you received it. It wasn't yours in the first place. I mean, originally, you received it, okay, as free. You receive it free, okay, as a gift. And then, okay, so we just give what is truly yours, okay? Okay, now, or what's earned, okay? So give with wisdom. Now, here's the thing is that we should not create a dependency or give something that can be misused, okay? So here's an example. Okay, yeah, we all like to give, right? So let me give more drugs to the drug user, or let me give more guns to the people. Well, that's not really wisdom, right? Because, well, right, that's not good. Because if you give drugs to the drug user, well, guess what? They're going to be addicted, and they're going to, right, it's going to be a vicious cycle, all right? Same thing, I give guns to people. Well, guess what? Well, that's, people can use the guns to what? To kill, right? You can say, oh, I give the guns to people to defend themselves. But that's only one part of the thing, right? With guns, people can also kill either intentionally or unintentionally, doesn't matter, okay? But the point is it can be misused, okay? So that's not giving with wisdom, right? So giving without forcing yourself, that's another important point about the Tao giving, is that you should not feel that you have to be forced to give. That's very important, because once again, that's no longer non-conditioned. That's the condition, right? You're forced to give. That's the condition. Or you feel obligated to give. That's a condition. So that's not wu wei, okay? So that means you have a reason, a motive to give, all right? So we should not that, okay? So the strife, you mean strife, it means contention. You can say, or not contention, but you struggle with something, okay? Or something that's not natural. It's not in alignment with the Tao, okay? So you have to be careful. Giving, also, we have to be careful to give without discrimination based on external factors. What does that mean? That means, when we're giving, we say, oh, we pick and choose who to give. See, that's where, we gotta be very mindful of, okay? Because when you're doing that, you are actually creating karma, planting the seeds of karma, which we don't realize. You say, oh, giving is a good thing, I'm doing. You're not doing it unconditionally, right? Okay, well, which we'll get to, we'll get to into section 3 in the last section. All right. Okay. So giving do not base, or how do people look, or based on ethnicity, based on religion, based on whatever, based on nationality, all that. Those are all external factors. Okay. Right. So we should not pass judgment on who is or is not deserving of our gifts. Okay. So we have to be very mindful of that. Now, we also have to give in moderation. Okay. Or, strike the right balance. Just like from the previous appendix, right? Don't give too much or too little, or don't give everything and give nothing. Okay. So moderation. All right. Moderation. All right. Okay. Then we learn and integrate the wisdom of the practice of generosity, right? That's more, generosity, to apply the 3 categories of giving in your life, right? We, those who attend the Dharma class, the last class, right? Talking about making vows. This is it. I don't want to go into too much detail. That's the 财施, 法施, 无畏施. All right. Okay. The 3 categories of giving. All right. And there's a reason why in the Dharma class we put that as the second vow, the basic vow, okay, because this is the foundation of all future vows, okay, just like the first vow, okay. So anyway, I don't want to go into too much detail, but you can read it here, right? The giving of monetary and material things is to help people in need, not add to excess. Recall chapter 77 once again, right? Okay, chapter 77. Is it chapter 77? Yeah, chapter 77. All right. Okay. All right. All right. The Tao of Heaven reduces those with excess and adds to the deficient. The Tao of people is not so, right? Okay. So that's section 2. 4th and 5th phrases, 4, 5, 6, section 2. Okay. All right. So also give what's 法施? Okay. 法施. Literally, it can mean giving of Dharma. Literally, that's what it means. Okay. But it's the wisdom. It's to promote compassion. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So this is a separate topic in the in the Dharma class, and you can talk about, we can talk about my detail, but this I'm just going to just broadly. And giving that is fearless or courageous and proactive. That's what 无畏施 means. Okay. Literally means without fear. Okay. That's to help the helpless, taking definite action. That's being proactive. You take the initiative. You don't wait for people to come to ask for you for help before you help them. Okay, so bring those who are lost to their destination. People became lost. They couldn't go to their destination. You say, oh, it's along my way. I'll help you drop you off. Or lending a sympathetic ear, taking the initiative to clean for example, the temple, volunteer to cook for others, so that people can have a hot meal after a long day, etc. All that. Okay. Then there's the meaning of the Tao of giving. Sorry to give too much time. Okay, here. So we have to do this. Give without claiming credit, without boasting, flaunting. That's without ego. That's ultimate. That's what non-attached, part of non-attached giving means. Okay. All right. Okay. Also, giving with no strings attached. That's also without conditions, expectations, recognition, part of the concept. Okay. Okay. Then there's some forms of non-material. Okay. So we have to understand what the meaning of giving. It doesn't have to be monetary or tangible things. We could just do a smile. This is very important, and open impression. This is free. All of us can do this. Okay, free. Okay, same thing with this. This is also free. All right, it's forgiveness. There's no need to carry anger. Okay, this is not easy. It's obviously not easy. It's harder to forgive, right? It's hard to forgive, and even harder to forget, right? So we should. This is a very high level, okay, of Tao cultivation, okay, and also giving a blessing. What's a blessing? We just wish someone the best, smooth sailing, good fortune, safety, protection, etc. Okay, so that should be right. Okay, all right. So we can. This is more internal, and this is external. Okay, all right. Then encouragement. That's external too. Let people know that they're on the right track, and praise them, motivate them, inspire them to go even further. Okay, to go even further. All right. Okay. So that's it. All right. So let's go to summary. Okay. Let's go to the conclusion now. I think we're at the 3rd section. Okay. Here's the 3rd section. This is the kind of that wraps everything up. So the Tao of Heaven benefits but does not harm. What's that mean? Okay, so basic meaning. So at the worldly level, at the worldly level, okay, here the Tao of Heaven, that's the Tao that is represented by nature. Okay, so that's represented by nature. Okay, so this is more specific. That's why it's the world level. Okay, it's specific dealing about the positive aspects of the Tao of nature that benefits human. Now, there's the universal level, the macro level, which is the all-encompassing Tao. That's the nature, the capital N. It's beyond mother. Okay, you can say mother nature, I guess. Yeah. Okay, that includes everything. So everything humans judge as good plus everything we judge as bad. Okay, so that's the bigger, the more bigger level. Okay, encompassing. But here at the basic level, we're talking about the positive, just the positive side. Okay. All right. Then another way of understanding what the heavenly Tao is Mother Nature. That just benefits human sentient beings, but does not harm them. Oh, we can say, oh, well, what about earthquakes, tornadoes? Doesn't that hurt, harm people? Actually, now you can say, yes, on the superficial, yeah, earthquakes, tsunamis, whatever, tornadoes, hurricanes, don't they kill people? Yes, they do. But that's not because Mother Nature intended to kill people, because that's because of the karma. All right. So that's very important. All right. Okay. So all right. So now, yeah. Okay. Here it is. Okay. Now here's another understanding is that at the human level, we say, oh, the Tao of the heavenly Tao. It implies that that we must worship, that there must be some kind of deity or God. All right. So not necessarily. Okay. So it does not mean that in order to be able to distinguish good from bad, right, like morality, immorality, it's necessary to have the concept of a deity. It doesn't. Okay. Why not? Because all human beings have innately a Buddha nature, which is already at one or congruent with the Tao. It is already in accordance, congruent alignment with the Tao. So this is most often manifested as our conscience. So it is not necessary to have the concept of a deity in order to be good, moral, virtuous, benevolent, compassionate, kind, loving, etc. So here's where a lot of some people, especially those who who found religion or who are very religious, very devout, religiously devout. Okay, they would say, oh, we need to have a God, a deity, in order to have morality. That's not true. Okay, why? Because we already have our Buddha nature, and our Buddha nature manifests as like conscience, and that's the conscience that tells us, oh, this is not right, this is wrong, or this is immoral, this is moral, etc., right? So that's that, or this is compassionate, this is incompassionate. Okay, or non-compassion. Okay, so that's what our conscience, and that's our Buddha nature speaking. All right, okay, all right. So and here's an oppositional fact. Okay, from a detached observation of today's world, some of the places in the world with the most conflicts and suffering occur in areas where there's strong religious presence. This is also true from a historical. Okay, so that's why we should not rely on religion for morality. So that's very important. Okay, very important distinction. Okay, that's the higher level. All right. Okay. As a matter of fact, some of the places that has the most conflict, most suffering, are very religious. Okay, just look at the Middle East. Look at Northern Ireland. Okay. I mean, other places. History. Okay. All right. Okay, you can understand. All right. Okay. So at the implication is that at the world, and at the human level, where is this? Okay. That's how I go on here. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Here. Okay. Here. Okay. The heavenly Tao, manifested as Mother Nature, benefits all sentient beings, humans and animals, continuously, and does not intentionally cause them harm. The harm that occurs to humans are all due to karmic seeds, prior causes, and from the ego, such as desires, three poisons, etc. That's the present causes. Okay. So right. So if we have, right, how come we say Mother Nature doesn't harm people intentionally? All right. Okay. All right. But people harm themselves without knowing, because what? Sometimes they have desires, right? They lust after something, or they want so much something, they'll do anything, including harming others in order to get it, right? So that's the idea, all right? So those are the present causes. Okay, there are also prior causes due to karma, all right? That we, either hurt somebody previously in previous life, and now in this life, well, it comes back to us, right? Okay, it comes back to us, right? What goes around comes around, all right? So, okay, so but Mother Nature doesn't want to do that, but it's driven by karma. So therefore, we humans are subject to karma, and therefore, all right? So it's not by the Tao. So here, the Tao of Heaven. Okay, let's hear. Okay, let's do it here. This is a long paragraph. So okay, so here the Tao of Heaven is synonymous with Mother Nature. Okay, at this basic level. So which is what? the human mind, that's the sentience, which contains the consciousness, the self-awareness, plus intelligence, okay, plus intelligence, is part of nature and thus part of the Tao. So it is natural for us to use our minds, that's the conscience, self-awareness, and intelligence, to acquire the positive and useful out of both creative and destructive aspects of nature, okay? So for example, there is life in nature, so we use it to nurture and thus benefit ourselves, such as growing food, getting water, etc. But there's also death in nature, and we also use it to further our goals. Such as we see this in the old days they used some dead animals to use as fertilizer, etc., or whatever, or we use the dead animal for whatever, okay, so whatever, all right, or things for our benefit, all right, okay. So we also use it. So either way, we extract benefits from both life, that's the good part, and death, the bad part. So that's the broader perspective, all right, okay. So now here's the key point on the world level is this, okay, is that the heavenly Tao is about the human mind. That's the sentience, consciousness, the sentient part, right? That's the consciousness, the self-awareness, and the intelligence. That's working. We work with nature. That is about the human mind working with nature. Humans use their intelligence to enjoy the benefits of nature while skillfully avoiding harm, right? But we all don't want to be harmed, right? Right. Okay. So we use our intelligence or conscience or consciousness, to avoid harm, right? So one way to think of quote unquote good and quote unquote positive is in terms of that which contributes to the survival and flourishing of humankind, of the human species. So from this perspective, the heavenly Tao always benefits sentient beings and does not harm them, just as the rain falling from the skies waters all plants and the sun shines and warms everyone, right? So what we mean by the Tao of Heaven or the heavenly Tao is that we use all, what the heavenly Tao can provide to benefit, okay, to help the human species survive. Okay, so that's what it means by the Tao of Heaven benefits but does not harm. All right, at the human level, okay, the heavenly Tao provides humans with the ability to have self-awareness of their Buddha nature and its innate wisdom, which allows humans to enjoy the benefits of nature while avoiding harm, both physically and spiritually. Then at the universal level, this is because why? The Tao constantly produces, nurtures, nourishes, and protects all mirrored things. Okay, so that's from chapter 51, respect and value. Okay, 10th and 14th phrase. I think it's section 3. All right. Okay, so that's at the macro level. Okay, because the Tao is always like that. So therefore, the Tao of Heaven, okay, just benefits. Okay, it doesn't harm because it always produces, grows, nurtures, and protects them. Right? Okay, so now let's talk about last sentence, last 2 phrases. The Tao of sages assists or acts, but does not contend. Okay, now, the basic meaning is at the external level. I should say more. Yeah, okay, external level. The Tao of sages is all about wisdom. Whereas for humans, it's about intelligence. So sages, the person, the physical person, they use their wisdom to provide assistance to benefit people while skillfully avoiding contention. Remember, sages do not debate, right? Et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Now, sages, and why would they do that? Why would they do that? Because to be a sage, they observe nature. They observe the previous 2 phrases, the Tao of Heaven, and they seek to emulate it, to follow it, and then elevate it to a higher level than just using their intelligence. It's right. We use our wisdom instead. So sages use the wisdom, but they follow the Tao of Heaven. They still emit, that is to what? Benefit, but do not harm, right? Okay, so sages use their innate wisdom rather than just intelligence at the human level, right? Rather than at the ordinary common human level, to provide assistance to people while skillfully avoiding contention, where contention leads to harm. Remember, right? Contention leads to harm, right? Okay. Now, at the internal level, that's the external level. Internal level, it just means that that's the way of our Buddha nature. The way of our Buddha nature is to benefit us without contending with anyone or anything. So instead of using human intelligence, the Buddha nature uses its innate divine wisdom to assist us or support us or help us, whatever, without contending with anyone or anything, or without our mind, without contending with our thoughts. Okay, now, It's important that this last two characters, right? This happens to be the last two characters of this chapter. It's very important of this entire classic. Okay, so it deserves special recognition. All right, so that's why Lao Tzu chose these last two words, for a reason. All right, he could have chose something else. He could have chose any other word. Okay, but he chose these two words. Okay, for a reason. All right. It not only ties back to chapter 80. Remember chapter 80, the previous chapter, right? People do not go back and forth. That's the last sentence, last phrase. Do not go back and forth with one another. Chapter 80, right? Talks about that. That's about contention. Do not bicker. Do not visit trouble, right? Okay, so it ties back. Okay, so that's important. So in chapter 81, remember he's tying up the whole classic. He's basically connecting chapter 80, which is kind of like a culmination of all the previous chapters. And also chapter 20 to chapter 1, okay, to the beginning. All right. So at the kingdom level, what does non-contention mean? It also means opposition to war. Okay, sections 1 and 2 of chapter 30, contrary to Tao. Okay, all right. So it means Lao Tzu does not advocate war. Okay. Now at the personal level, it means Lao Tzu was opposed to people fighting one another. Okay, then at the internal level, our Buddha nature does not contend with anyone or anything, right? Okay, so that's what it means. So the key point is that at the external level, when sages practice the Tao, that's the way of the sages, right? Or the Tao of the sages, they assist others, but they do not contend with people for recognition, that is status, for wealth or power. They do not, okay? They don't, right? They don't need to, right? At the internal level, okay, right here, is that the way of our Buddha nature, that's the sage, internal sage, always helps us with its innate divine wisdom without contending with our minds or thoughts, okay? Because they do not contend, so the world cannot contend with them. Chapter 66, all right? Rivers and goodness, all right? Okay, from the last two phrases. Okay, now let's go to summary of this last section. Here it is, okay? What's the Tao of Heaven and the Tao of sages, okay, or the way of heaven and the way of sages. Oh, the Tao sounds better, okay? So this is about how humans use intelligence to make beneficial use of everything, both positive and negative, but that nature offers while trying to avoid harm, right? So that's what the Tao of Heaven, that's the more human level, okay? Nature using it. Whereas the Tao of sages, it's about how sages use wisdom to benefit everyone without bias while avoiding contention. All right. So non-contention here is the big one. Oh, okay. I have a story, but I don't think I have time to tell it. Sorry. Okay. So it's non-contention. Remember, that's the final concept of this classic. Now, it reinforces this key concept from previous chapters, right? Previous chapters talk about non-contention too, right? Right. Okay. Like such as chapter 68, it's non-contention, right? Okay. Non-contention. All right. But other chapters. Now, the superficial level, it's about what? About fighting, arguing, conflicts, animosity, resentment. That's the superficial. There's a deeper level, okay, about all the things that people fight for or strive for and compete with one another over, such as position, power, right? People want to scramble to climb the social ladder, social status, to get higher than others. Possessions like wealth, right? People want to show off what they have to signify what they feel makes them superior. Also recognition, this is the more intangible. It's not intangible, you can see it, but anyway, okay. It's recognition, fame and status. People wish to be seen as virtuous, living the good life, enjoying great relationships, etc. Right? So we have to get, okay, so that's what non-connect. So Lao Tzu is opposed to what? Contending for power, wealth, and fame. All right. Now, we have to practice the use of proportionality, okay? Proportionality, okay? Proportionality, that is the pettiness versus the significance. It's the significance or insignificance. There are more important things than wasting time on contention, okay? So we have to realize that. We have to use that perspective of proportionality. And also chronological. That's the passage of time, understanding the triviality of contention, right? Like I don't know, when we're a child, we were, arguing, debating, or contending, over some, I don't know, whatever, some things, okay? And then you look back after these many years and you realize, oh my God, how trivial that is, how insignificant that is, all right? Okay, so we have to be mindful by using we have to practice it. It takes practice, okay, of both proportionality, that's the, you know, the scale, you can say proportionality is the scale aspect, and chronological perspective means that, oh, after time we realize, oh, we are so petty, so trivial, that the thing is so insignificant. Okay, now, okay, there's this story, and you guys can read it. It's a pretty long story. That's why I don't have time. It takes about 12 minutes to explain, to tell the story and to explain. Okay, but it's the story of epic battles between the king of Wei kingdom and the king or duke of the Qi kingdom. Okay, it's in the Zhuangzi. It's in Zhuangzi chapter 4. Okay, I mean, when you, depending on the translation, when you read the chapter, it's sometimes it can seem very dry, not very that insightful, depending on which translation. But you can attempt it. So I just want to reference it. It's okay. It's important. All right. Okay. So lastly, let go, because my time's almost up. Let go of negative thoughts to harm or contend with others, because such thoughts make you stray far away, or a better way to say it's contrary to the Tao. It's not in accordance with the Tao. Okay. So okay. So that's the final summary, and let's get back to the conclusion here. All righty. Okay. So this connects. So from this last phrase, or the last 4 phrases, okay, connects back to the first section, where at the worldly level, okay, where at the worldly level, where at the worldly level, okay, where truthful words are not beautiful and beautiful words are not truth, where those who are good do not debate and those who debate are not good, those who know are not broad of knowledge and those who are broad of knowledge do not know. So that's at the worldly level. At the personal level, okay, we're using beautiful words, beautiful but misleading words, and appearing broad of knowledge are both methods of deception used by those who debate. This is why a Tao cultivator with integrity, that is, those who are good or skillful at the art of living, would prefer not to get into debates, where debates lead to contention. Okay, then at the tangible level, where sages and those who are good do not accumulate worldly possessions, because they find contentment and abundance in helping and giving, where the more they give, the more they possess, and the more they give, the more they receive. At the intangible level, where the Buddha nature is already self-sufficient and has no need to accumulate worldly objects, and it continues to manifest its innate divine wisdom, okay, or Mahaprajna, to help and support us in our daily lives. At the worldly level, where by following and practicing the Tao of Heaven, is about humans using their intelligence or sentience, you can say, to benefit themselves and skillfully avoiding harm in nature. Okay, avoiding harm in nature. While the Tao of sages is about using wisdom as opposed to intelligence, okay, to benefit others while skillfully avoiding contention among people. Just like the rain falling from the skies waters all plants, and the sun shines and warms everyone. At the personal level, where by emulating the Tao of Heaven, that's the nourishing mother or mother nature, and the Tao of the sages, those who are skillful in the art of life seek to benefit everyone without harming them, and are able to act and render assistance to others without any contention, where contention often leads to harm. At the meta level is this, okay, we're at the conclusion now. Here it is this is the way of the nourishing mother, the mother nature, the Tao of Heaven, which is really connects to chapter 1, all right, the chapter 1, which benefits but does not harm, and the way of the Buddha nature, the Tao of sages, which assists but does not contend with anything, where the Buddha nature has no need to acquire worldly things because it is already self-sufficient, and through its innate divine wisdom does not accumulate any karmic seeds. This is not to accumulate. Okay, I'm sorry I ran a little bit over, but this is the conclusion of chapter 81 and the conclusion of the entire classic. If you notice, if you can read a little bit more in depth into there, this connects chapter 80 and also back to chapter 1 with the Tao of Heaven. Okay, all right. So it's the fitting conclusion. Okay, so it also reminds us that non-contention is a key to understanding the Tao or the teachings of Lao Tzu. Okay, all right. So this concludes chapter 81, and then we finally graduated and finished accomplished the entire reading, learning from the entire 81 chapters. And so if I've said anything that's incorrect or wrong, I ask for Buddha's and Lao Tzu's forgiveness and guidance, and everybody's guidance. Okay, thank you, everybody.